This is the final project video for Team 2, Team EBMJ, for our software capstone course. We wrote an Android game, and because it uses multi-touch, it doesn't really work too well on the emulator for Android Studio. So I'm going to demonstrate the game using an Android tablet, which will show multi-touch. So what I'm going to do here is bring up the icon for missile defense, start the game up, and hopefully get some points. So this is our splash screen. It shows a cool picture of a missile, and it's telling us to touch the screen to start. Now, we have ships coming over, we have a gun that's moving, and I'm able to fire at these ships. I don't want to hit the balloons because if I do, I lose points, which I just did. So the individual ships are actually dropping bombs at me. And if they hit me, I'm losing points there too. See if we can rack up some points. Not too many. Well, we made the top 10 score anyway. So we have an SQL database that keeps track of the top 10 scores, and since I haven't played too many games with this latest version, I made the top 10 with a score of 33. If I didn't make the top 10, it would tell me I didn't, and then when I press continue, it would bring me back to the splash screen. So in this case, I did make the top 10. It's a simple little keyboard. I can put a name in. Put my whole name in. Press done. Now what it just did was it went out to the SQL database. It pulled out the names and scores of the top 10, and which in this case we only had 3. And I added my name to the score, and it wrote it back out to the database file on the Android device. So now if I want to play again, it brings me back to the splash screen. Now if I continue at this point, I'll show you some of the features. We have the fire button, sound effects. You can see that bombs are going to drop from these things in a random fashion. When bombs are falling, they're always heading towards the gun. I can move the gun back and forth. And we also have a help screen. Now the help screen displays the different ships and the scores that they're worth, and it tells you a little bit how to play the game. And then from here we press here to continue. Now there is a bug. I notice that when you go into the help screen and come back out, it resets the timer back to the full time of 45 seconds. So that's something that needs to be fixed. So that's the game. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the development environment. So this was developed on a MacBook Pro using Android Studio, which is sort of the latest and greatest thing now for app development for Android. So in Android Studio, I hope this is visible, you can see over here all the source files this game is using. And this is further described in the documentation, the design doc. But you can see we can bring up different files with the Android Studio, typical IDE environment. This allows you to run the emulator if you want to test out your game, which I certainly did, except for the point where we needed to use multi-touch. So that was that. When we had our team meetings, we used Google Drive to store our documents and collaborate that way. We have for example, the design doc is our team stationery. We pass documents back and forth using Google Docs and coordinated that way. Here's our org chart. So things left to be done. We have a couple of bugs to fix, which is the score thing I mentioned. We have a feature that we wanted to add, which we didn't have time, and that's a settings feature. Settings being changing colors in the game, changing skill levels, that sort of thing. Next version we can certainly do that. Right now the game is playable. We get 5-6 different people playing it, and they all seem to enjoy it. So that's our submission, and hopefully We'll do fine here, thank you.